So, one of my personal goals this year was to do some goal setting with my students in order to try to increase agency in their classwork and participation in class. I didn't want to rush into it. I wanted to find something that would be digital, something that we could go back and revisit and reflect on, and somewhere that kind of kept a running list of goals that were set. So what I ended up doing was this Google Sheet, this goal setting Google Sheet, lives in Google Classroom on one of our frequently used resources. And every Monday we do goal setting. So I have it set up for each block so students can click on their block and they'll be able to see their name. They'll have a link to the form and to the spreadsheet. So the Google form is for goal setting, the spreadsheet is for reflection. And so to show you how it works, I set up one for myself. So if it's a goal setting day, I would click on this form and it would ask me a few questions. So first would be the date. And then instead of just going right to goals, I did ask a retrieval practice question to sort of like try to jog their memory about what the last thing that we learned about in science. And it's good to like recall that stuff so that it helps them remember it and kind of stay in their brain a little bit better. So something we learned last time in science class, I'm just going to type something quick. Plants have a lot of adaptations for survival. Oops. All right. And then the next one is goal setting. So I set this up so it's a little bit kind of differentiated for maybe a student that on the spot isn't ready to type their goal or doesn't really know exactly what their goal should be. So I put some pre-made goals on here so they could choose these at any time. They're all good goals. And then if they wanted to pick a different goal, just something personal to them, they could type it in. So I will just click on that I'm going to work towards completing my assignments this week. And then you just hit submit. And then what I did was I created a loop. So when I set up the Google form, I pasted in the link to their spreadsheet. So when they were done with their personal form, which by the way, I just made a Google form and then I copied it for each student and then I put the link for the form in that spreadsheet. It takes a little time to set up, but it's a pretty cool system once you get it going. So when they're finished, they can click on this and we'll bring them to their spreadsheet, a list of their goals that they have created. So these are just some practice goals that I threw in there as I was working. But one thing I did was I created a conditional formatting so we could keep track of goals that have been accomplished, goals we're still working on, and goals that have not been, maybe not started or not accomplished at all. And so you would do that by typing in a 1, a 2, or a 3. So 1 for achieved, 2 for still working, and 3 for not achieving your goal. So I'll just do an example of each one. I thought after, we go through this for like maybe a whole quarter, we'll be able to see some trends on things you need to work on and things that you are pretty good at, your strengths versus your weaknesses. I left a place if students wanted to type additional notes or comments to themselves. And the only people that are seeing the spreadsheet are me and the student. I have it set up so that it's only shared with us. And if you tried to click on that link, you wouldn't be able to get into it if you weren't me or them. And then I also left a column that I could leave comments. So I'm not going to go and look at these every single time. I have about 100 students. So it's mostly for them. And then occasionally I'll go in, take a look, see what their goals are, look at the trends, and set up maybe a time where we can meet and kind of reflect together on how things are going. So that is my goal setting form. And the only trouble that I really ran into was when the form, when you go to the Google Sheet, and I tried to like set up the formatting so that it would look nice and neat all the time. But every time a new entry would come in, it wouldn't follow the formatting pattern. So I did end up having to Google a solution for that. It's a little, it actually wasn't too complicated, but it was hard to figure out how to do it. I found it on a YouTube video, and basically I had to create a second sheet and format that sheet and then make everything from the first sheet go to the second sheet. But you can do that with a formula, and I will add the YouTube channel that I learned how to do that from, instead of trying to explain it. All right, so I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to using this. I think it's a good way to set goals and be consistent.